This is Norino Petro, Practice Management Advisor at the State Bar of Wisconsin, and we'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Marketing Your Law Practice in a Tight Economy. Today's speaker is Terrie Wheeler, who is a marketing veteran and entrepreneur who is president of Professional Services Marketing, Inc. According to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Terrie's brain is crammed with 25 years of experience as a marketing manager, a consultant, and a coach, with a focus largely on promoting law firms. Terrie's taken this experience and turned it into marketyourlawpractice.com, which she started in 2007 to offer affordable marketing assistance to small and mid-sized law firms across the country. I have both tested and really been able to explore Market Your Law Practice, and the State Bar of Wisconsin is happy to have Market Your Law Practice as one of the State Bar's affinity programs. So, Terrie, I'll turn this over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for that introduction, Norino. I really appreciate all of you taking time out of your day today to spend this hour and 15 minutes with us. I want to extend a special welcome to any of you who I met when you attended the Small Firm and Solo Conference a couple of weeks ago. It was delightful to talk with all of you and to have you show interest in this webinar. So we're really happy to have you here today. One of the things that I want to mention also is that even though this is a webinar, we have a few cool interactive things. First of all, you are going to be registered for a door prize that will be awarded after today's session, and to become eligible, you simply have to participate in the live polling feature that we have. So throughout the course of the webinar this morning, you're going to have the opportunity to interact in the form of live polling on your screen. So those who complete all of the live polls will be placed in a drawing, and what you will receive is, I understand from Norino, a very nice either a messenger bag or an over-the-shoulder laptop bag with the Practice 411 logo on it. So compliments of the State Bar of Wisconsin, and you'll have your choice between, I think, 3 different options. So now let's move into our actual webinar. My goal with you today is for you to be able to pull at least a few ideas directly from this presentation and put them to work for you in your practice. So first of all, let's take a look at how today's session is going to flow. I'm going to give that a little bit more of a brief introduction of myself and also my colleague Jim Patterson. Then I'm going to introduce you to the foundation upon which a successful marketing strategy should be built for you as a lawyer. We're then going to talk about and discuss ideas, 16 ways in which you can cost-effectively market your law practice in a challenging economy like the one we have today. And I'm also going to leave some time at the end for questions. So please think about what vexes you most about marketing your practice, and if we don't address it in the session, you'll have an opportunity in your dashboard that you see on the right-hand side of your screen to submit questions throughout the presentation, and I will respond to each and every one of them. While I'm compiling your questions, Jim Patterson, also a practicing attorney, is going to provide a brief overview of marketyourlawpractice.com, which is, again, the member benefit that we are so happy to offer to lawyers in Wisconsin. And Jim is also going to talk about the discount that you receive as a Wisconsin lawyer. Now, one of the features of this technology, as I mentioned, is being able to use a live polling feature. And I'm going to show you how that works, again, after I briefly present our speakers today. We also have given you a link, and it's still there in the chat box, to the materials from today's session. Not only is it the article version of what we're going to be talking about today, but it's a PDF that includes links to hundreds and hundreds of pages of marketing content. So I invite you to access that handout and use it as you put your marketing plan in place for 2011. Again, it's a PDF and all of the links are live, so I hope you will use that information. As Norino said, I'm Terrie Wheeler, and I did spend 13 years as an in-house marketing director for some very large firms in the Twin Cities. And then about 14 years ago, I founded Professional Services Marketing. And it's a company that we've really delivered outsourced marketing services to law firms through, but I've also, through that whole time, been serving as a marketing coach, a one-on-one marketing coach to lawyers. What I decided to do then, as Norino mentioned, was to replicate my marketing process and download my brain into this tool that many of you have seen or heard a little bit about in terms of helping lawyers ethically and effectively develop new business. So that's why I founded MarketYourLawPractice.com. I also served on the Hennepin County Bar Association's 4th District Ethics Committee, and this really helped me incorporate not just random marketing strategies into this website, but only the activities that are deemed ethical by boards of professional responsibility across the country. And then I also had a little stint as the chair of the Marketing and Client Services section for our State Bar Association here in Minnesota. Now let me introduce you to my colleague, Jim Patterson. Jim is a partner at the law firm of Sherman and Patterson in Maple Plain, Minnesota. He has over 13 years of very sophisticated tax-deferred compensation and estate planning expertise serving physicians and medical clinics across the country. Jim was actually one of my testers when I developed Market Your Law Practice, and I had about 40 lawyers serving in this capacity to make sure that the site truly replicated and served the needs of the smaller firms and solo practitioners. So Jim basically loved the site, and he approached me to help me go to market with Market Your Law Practice. And this happened really after Jim generated thousands of dollars in new revenue by using even one tool that he found on the site. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start our program today, and you're going to hear a little bit more from Jim again at the end of the program when I'm compiling your questions. So let's start by moving into the first polling question. What I would like you to respond to, think of this as sort of a practice session. The poll is, how significantly, whoops, let me launch the poll. How significantly has the economy affected your law practice? So you can actually interact with this and tell me extremely, very, somewhat, not very, not at all. Remember, this is how we get you registered for the free computer bag. We still have a number of you who need to cast your vote. Right now we have about 75% who've responded, and I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes. We have 80%, 83. How significantly has the economy affected your practice? Now, I'm going to close the poll here actually right now. We have over 95% of you who have responded, so I'm closing the poll. And now what I can do is share the results of our poll. So what you can see is that based on your peers and colleagues in Wisconsin, 13% feel that the economy has had an extreme role in their practice moving forward, and 41% have been very affected by the economy. So it really does look like the vast majority have had some sort of impact on the practice and growing the practice as a result of the economy. So as I mentioned, we're going to be going through about 6 of these polls throughout the presentation today. So what I'd like to do is to start the session by talking about some of the building blocks that I think are marketing best practices for lawyers when you're putting together a marketing plan. What you want to do is you want to first think about stepping back and assessing what's really worked well for you in the past. Where have you had success in marketing? What hasn't worked? Really step back. These disparate drops of water represent the presentation you did over here, or an article, or building a relationship with a referral source. And what we want you to do is to pull all of that into one place so that you can then develop a strategically focused marketing plan for your practice. My point is only after you've gone through the assessment and the planning phase should you then move into implementation. And just having worked with lawyers for as long as I have, I know that lawyers love to jump into implementation and actually do things. So I encourage you to, as you're thinking about your marketing plan for next year, go through this particular process of assess, plan, implement, commit to implementing your marketing plan, and then always have a method for measuring results. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. My water icons represent my little subtle nod to rainmaking, because we want you to all become rainmakers in your own right. Now, another foundational building block that needs to be in your marketing plan is what I call the 4 pillars of marketing. These are, again, marketing best practices, and I can honestly tell you that just about everything you're going to do in marketing is going to fall under one of the major pillars of marketing. The first one is about retaining and growing relationships with your existing clients. Too many times lawyers think that marketing is all about going out and doing expensive things, advertising, new business development. Well, the place I encourage you to start is with your current base of clients, contacts, and referral sources. The second pillar of marketing is about attracting new business. Of course, we would have to have a pillar that would talk about building relationships with people who don't necessarily know you yet. This is where we start talking about networking and targeted business development, market research, and leveraging professional associations that you might be involved in. The third pillar of marketing is what can we do to help you increase your name recognition and awareness in the markets in which you are serving your clients. Then the fourth pillar is all about targeted and effective communications with your clients, contacts, and referral sources. So you can imagine how I have structured this presentation today on tips for marketing your law practice. Of course, I have structured it by pillar. So the first set of recommendations that I have for you is going to be under the first pillar of retaining and growing relationships with your existing clients. And again, just FYI, this does track with the materials that hopefully all of you have now been able to print out, and they'll be available after the session as well. So the first tip is keep your eye on the ball. Now, I'm going to warn you that most of what I'm going to talk about today is very low cost and very high impact. They're the things that you can do as an attorney that don't require big budget outlays in order to do them. They're the things that they will take your time, but they will have the highest impact on helping you cost effectively build your practice. So when we're talking about keeping your eye on the ball, this flows into some of the best practices we just talked about. This means developing a strategy that really forces you to set some realistic goals, and then to support those goals with the strategies that are going to bring them to life. So step back from your day-to-day practice and really assess what has made you successful to date, and then set your goals based upon what has worked best for you in the past. So also consider taking an in-depth look at your last few years of revenue. What do those revenue years have in common? Where did your best clients come from? What type of matters or cases did your revenue flow from? What services are most profitable for you? Conduct a little bit of a financial analysis as you set these realistic goals. And really focus on the strategies that have worked best for you in the past. Don't fall into the trap of feeling that you need to do something that's new or flashy or expensive, because keeping your eye on the ball just really requires focus and agility and coordination and just thoughtful strategy. Now, tip number 2 is focusing on relationship building. Another thing you're going to see is that what I'm suggesting isn't rocket science. These are things that everyone needs to be reminded of from time to time. So why is that important? Relationship building is important because, as you know, the vast majority of your clients have come from referrals. And those referrals have come from your current clients, your prospective clients, as well as a whole group of referral sources that you've built relationships with. Past clients and other professionals